Imagine for a moment if managing your money felt less like a chore, maybe even like
Yeah.
a genuine delight.
Yeah, like a feeling of excitement even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's precisely what we're diving into today. Dopamine banking.
Mm-hmm.
This deep dive, we're going to unpack how these cutting-edge financial tech companies, fintechs, neobanks,
Disruptors.
right, how they're actively designing financial services to really tap into our brain's reward centers.
It's where finance meets emotion, meets entertainment almost,
Yeah.
engineered to, well, surprise and satisfy you with every interaction.
Okay.
And our mission today, really, is to give you a shortcut to understanding this whole approach. It's pretty revolutionary.
So what are we going to learn?
You'll learn how these companies are completely redefining the customer experience. They're leveraging really powerful insights from neuroscience, neuromarketing,
Wow.
to make those financial journeys, genuinely engaging, emotionally rewarding even.
Because let's be honest, the traditional banking experience,
Nah.
it often feels purely transactional, right?
Yeah. Oh, totally. And maybe a bit, well, uninspiring.
Yeah, it's definitely led to a pretty significant gap in customer engagement, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
So what's behind this massive shift? Why is this all happening now?
Well, you really hit on the core issue right there, that engagement gap in traditional banking.
Mhm.
I mean, think about it. Their digital services, they often feel kind of tedious, don't they?
Yeah, clunky sometimes.
Right. And it's typically down to things like, well, dull interface design, maybe overly complex language.
Confusing navigation.
Exactly. Confusing navigation, hidden fees sometimes, and just a very formal, maybe cold attitude.
Yeah.
And while, sure, traditional banks invest heavily in security and basic functionality, which is crucial, obviously,
Of course.
they often stop at what people call lean designs, which, okay, they're efficient, yes, but they often lack any real brand identity or that sort of cutting-edge look and feel that really connects with people today.
And that's exactly where the fintechs and neobanks saw their chance, right?
Yeah.
Their opportunity to disrupt.
Precisely. Their apps really break away from those traditional, often quite sterile approaches.
You see it immediately.
You do. You see vibrant, eye-catching designs, genuinely innovative ways to engage you. It's a recognition that, today users don't just expect basic functionality.
Not anymore.
They want an immersive digital experience, something that delights them, supports them, educates them, maybe even rewards them.
It's about how it feels.
Exactly. They understand that user experience isn't just about function. It's about how you feel when you interact with your money.
So how are they achieving this feeling? How are they actually stirring up this delight we're talking about?
It's a powerful blend of things, really.
Like what?
Things like gamification, smart reward programs, initiatives that actually build a sense of community,
Interesting.
and even collaborating with influencers sometimes. This whole mix of education, entertainment, lifestyle perks that creates real loyalty.
Okay.
And that right there is what leads us directly to this idea of dopamine banking.
Right. And when you say dopamine banking, that sounds catchy, but you're talking about something more specific than just making banking fun. Yeah.
Oh, definitely. To define dopamine banking more precisely, it goes way beyond just straightforward transactions.
Okay.
It strategically leverages what we call dopamine design principles, advanced technology, and those crucial insights from neuroscience and neuromarketing we mentioned.
And the goal.
The ultimate goal is creating digital experiences that are genuinely engaging, emotionally rewarding, and this is critical, actually help you build long-term financial health.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit then. Dopamine design. We're really getting into the neuroscience now.
We are.
The aim is basically to create a kind of happiness boost using things like bright colors, maybe playful shapes, patterns.
Exactly. Things that evoke energy, excitement. It's all about making people feel good, which, as you know, is a really powerful driver.
Makes sense.
So dopamine design, yeah, it's a bold, hypervisual approach. It's specifically crafted to grab your attention instantly.
Like you see on social media feeds.
Very much like that, yeah. It uses those bright colors, bold fonts, dynamic patterns to trigger the brain's reward system. It really emerged as a direct response to our, swipe-driven digital culture.
Where decisions happen fast.
In milliseconds, right. So brands have to stand out visually. They can't just rely on people slowly, reflectively considering things anymore.
That's fascinating. And I've heard you mention before that it's not just dopamine involved. It's part of a wider neurochemical cocktail.
That's a great point. Absolutely.
Can you explain that a bit more? How do these other chemicals fit in maybe in a financial app context?
Yeah, it's super interesting. There's research from neurobiologists Samir Zeki and Tomohiro Ishizu.
Okay.
They actually found that looking at aesthetically pleasing art activates the exact same brain reward centers as romantic love.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, while dopamine is definitely key, it motivates us to chase rewards, gives us that pleasure hit. It's crucial to remember it's part of this much more intricate neurochemical cocktail.
Okay, like what else?
We're talking serotonin, which helps with mood balance, oxytocin for comfort and connection, norepinephrine, that gives you excitement, and endorphins for just that general sense of well-being.
So how would a fintech app tap into, say, oxytocin?
Good question. Think about when an app uses a really friendly, reassuring tone in its notifications.
Okay.
That's tapping into oxytocin, building that feeling of trust, of connection.
Right.
Or maybe a playful little animation pops up when you hit a savings goal. That could spark endorphins, giving you that nice feeling of accomplishment.
Ah, okay. And serotonin.
Maybe a really clear, calming interface design that just reduces that feeling of financial stress or overwhelm.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's serotonin working, helping promote a sense of calm, of well-being. It's really about designing for the whole spectrum of positive human emotion.
That makes so much sense.
Oh.
And it goes even deeper, doesn't it? Thinking about like cross-modal perception.
Exactly.
Oxford's cross-modal research lab has done work on this, right? Finding that our brain weaves information from multiple senses together to intensify experiences.
Precisely. Like their example of enjoying a meal more in vibrant surroundings.
Yeah. It feels more indulgent somehow because your brain is combining the sight, the taste, maybe the sounds to an overall pleasure. It's not just what you see, but how it makes you feel as a whole experience.
Okay.
And building right on that, this dopamine design framework gives us these universal principles. They're adaptable to all sorts of products, environments,
Right.
all designed to spark that joy and engagement. So let's maybe look at 7 key visual and aesthetic principles that are really at the heart of this.
Okay, let's do it.
First up, bold, vibrant color palettes.
Okay, bright colors, we get that. But what's the insight?
Where the real insight isn't just that bright colors look nice, it's how they act as this instant, almost unconscious cue for energy and optimism.
Oh.
They communicate delight before you even read a word. It's like pure emotional shorthand.
So how do you apply that? In apps, you see it with high contrast, energizing colors for call to action buttons, for example. In physical spaces, maybe bold color accents to highlight key areas, like an entrance or help desk.
So it signals exciting or important without needing text. Clever.
Exactly. Okay, second, focal accents.
What are those?
These are those unexpected or maybe whimsical design elements. They trigger curiosity, wake up our sense of fun.
Like little surprises?
Kind of. In user interfaces, think eye-catching icon shapes or unique little micro animations that play when you, say, complete a task.
Okay.
On product packaging, maybe it's geometric patterns or organic shapes that really stand out on a shelf. It's a small surprise that creates that little moment of delight.
I like that phrase, micro moment of delight. What about engaging more senses then?
Perfect lead into principle number 3, multi-sensory engagement.
Right, using sound or touch.
Yeah, combining visual, auditory, or tactile cues. It amplifies the whole experience by leveraging that cross-modal perception you mentioned earlier.
So in an app.
That might mean subtle sound effects for key actions, or maybe haptic feedback, that little vibration when you successfully make a payment.
Ah, okay. And in like a retail space.
It could be textural variety in the seating, make it interesting to touch, or carefully chosen ambient music to just enrich the atmosphere, make you feel more comfortable.
Nice. What's next?
Fourth is personalization.
Making it feel like mine.
Exactly. Using items, themes, prompts that connect to personal associations, memories, milestones. That delivers real emotional comfort, a feel-good factor.
How do they do that?
Well, it could be referencing cultural touchstones in marketing, perhaps. More commonly in apps, though, it's allowing users to customize things, colors, themes, maybe the layout, to really evoke a sense of ownership.
Right.
When something feels like yours, you're just naturally more invested in it.
So it's almost like the app becomes a financial friend who kind of gets you instead of just being a generic tool. That's a huge emotional difference.
It really is. What else contributes to this feeling? Well, fifth is thoughtful use of light.
Light. How does that work in an app?
Properly balanced light, whether it's real or artificial, can genuinely lift your mood, reduce stress, enhance focus. So app designers might use light and dark modes.
Oh yeah, I use dark mode.
Right, or soft gradients that maybe mimic natural lighting shifts throughout the day. In physical spaces, it's about layering different types of lighting to keep the environment feeling interesting and welcoming. It subtly influences your emotional state.
Okay. Number 6.
Sixth, functional whimsy.
Ah, love that name. What is it?
These are those quirky, playful elements you find in everyday interactions. They spark those micro moments of delight again.
Like what?
Think playful iconography. Or maybe Easter eggs in the user interface, those little hidden animations or messages you stumble upon.
Oh, fun.
Or even a hidden message inside product packaging that rewards you for looking closer. These little moments trigger positive feelings, make people want to come back.
So like a little wink from the app, basically. And finally, how do you make sure all this boldness and whimsy doesn't just become overwhelming?
Ah, that's the crucial 7th principle. Balance and harmony.
Makes sense.
Because while boldness grabs attention, too many stimuli can definitely overwhelm. You need a sense of cohesion to keep the experience feeling joyous rather than just chaotic.
So how do you apply that?
It's about maintaining consistency spacing, typography, color palettes to kind of anchor the vibrant elements, and blending those playful features with moments of calm, making sure users have room to breathe, aren't constantly bombarded.
It's fascinating how these principles are clearly already out there in the broader culture. You hear about dopamine dressing, right?
Yeah, wearing clothes that boost your mood.
Exactly, or dopamine decor, where people decorate their homes focusing on personal pleasure, not just what's trendy.
Absolutely.
These ideas are clearly bleeding into how we're thinking about designing financial experiences now.
That's the perfect bridge, actually. And to really bring this to life, let's talk about how leading firms in this space, like UXDA, they're a user experience design agency focused entirely on financial services. How they've been applying neuromarketing to banking for the last decade, making it not just efficient, but genuinely rewarding, emotionally resonant.
And this is where dopamine banking really comes into play.
Exactly. It's all about eliciting those positive emotional responses, which, as we said, is a stark contrast to that lean design approach that prioritizes efficiency, but often sacrifices that crucial brand connection, that feeling.
So what does this all mean for you as a user? It sounds like a banking app is shifting from being just a digital ledger.
Completely.
What's the biggest change you'll actually experience?
I think the biggest shift is that your banking app becomes more like a gateway. A gateway for personal empowerment, maybe for entertainment, even for social connection sometimes.
Right.
It's really aiming for that wow factor with every interaction, transforming what used to be a chore into something you might actually, well, look forward to using.
Right.
And to achieve that, dopamine banking relies on some really specific strategic UX principles.
Yeah.
These are designed to build long-term trust and loyalty, not just fleeting interest.
Okay, let's get into those.
All right. First, there's a shift from transactions to transformations.
Meaning?
Instead of just a standard pay bill button, imagine contextual one-tap payments based on your history. Or celebrating deposits with a cool, colorful confirmation animation.
Yeah.
This reframes those mundane tasks, making financial services feel genuinely supportive. And that drives retention, keeps people using the app.
Gotcha. Any examples?
Yeah, Cash App is a great example here. They excel at that instant gratification. Real-time notifications for everything, plus rewards like Bitcoin or cashback.
Tangible benefits.
Exactly, tangible benefits that trigger the brain's reward center, all wrapped up in this bold, modern interface.
So instead of just doing a task, you're kind of experiencing a mini win each time. That's powerful.
It really is. Okay, second principle. Fostering emotional connection through human-centered design.
Sounds important. What does it look like?
This means embedding those moments of delight. We talked about maybe tiny rewards for hitting savings goals, or using empathetic nudges based on understanding users' emotional states, their highs and lows.
So it feels like the app understands you.
Precisely. This fuels deeper brand bonds. It transforms financial tasks into, maybe, stories of personal growth. Think of Monzo.
Okay, Bonzo.
They give you real-time spending notifications, customizable savings pots with visual progress tracking, and just a generally playful design. They create these emotional touch points like spending summaries that turn routine banking into a more positive, reflective experience.
Nice. What's third?
Third, ensuring strategic UX alignment with brand vision.
Meaning consistency.
Exactly. Consistent brand tone, visuals, messaging across all the digital channels, web, mobile, wearables, even voice assistants.
Why is that so important?
It reinforces trust. That consistency triggers dopamine related to safety and familiarity. Plus, it helps a brand really stand out in what's become a very crowded market.
Makes sense. Okay, number 4.
Fourth, leveraging personalization and predictive guidance.
Using data and AI.
Right. Using data and AI to anticipate your needs. Maybe suggesting savings nudges on payday or offering adaptive dashboards that change based on what's important to you right now.
So it feels tailored.
It makes the product feel like it just gets you, and that boosts engagement, creates those positive habit loops. A great example here is Clio.
Clio, the AI budgeting app.
That's the one. It really stands out with its humorous conversational AI. It feels like you're chatting with someone.
Yeah, it's quite sassy sometimes.
Exactly. And it offers gamified savings challenges, instant feedback with spending breakdowns. That interactive chatbot makes budgeting feel way more personal and fun. It injects delight into something usually seen as pretty serious.
That sounds like having a financial advisor who actually knows my quirks and helps me without, judging.
Precisely the feeling they're going for. Okay, fifth principle, gamification done responsibly.
Responsibly being the key word.
Absolutely. This means integrating reward mechanisms like maintaining an emergency fund streak, maybe getting points for that, or providing financial health scores that maybe unlock perks.
Oh.
The goal is to encourage financial literacy and long-term engagement, not just short-term clicks. Buddy is a good example here.
Buddy, the budgeting app.
Yeah, it's very visually driven, helps you track expenses, set budgets using bright, colorful charts. It uses gamification like budget streaks and even has collaborative features. You get that dopamine hit from seeing your progress visually, maybe collaborating with a partner.
So it's turning something like budgeting, which can feel like homework, into more of a game, but with real-world benefits.
Exactly. Okay, sixth. Employing visual storytelling and emotional engagement.
How does that work with money?
Think progress bars, dynamic charts that clearly show your savings growing or your debt shrinking, and using actionable narratives like, here's how your mortgage improves if you pay an extra £50 this month.
Making it concrete.
Yes. It empowers users, helps decision-making by making complex finances much clearer and more compelling.
Okay. Seventh,
fostering ongoing improvement and experimentation. This is really about the company's culture, a test-and-learn approach, frequent updates, collaborative feedback loops.
Where users feel heard.
Exactly. Where users actually see their suggestions get implemented sometimes. This keeps the experience fresh, stops it getting stale, and builds really authentic brand relationships.
Good point. Number 8.
Eighth, nurturing community-driven engagement.
Bringing people together.
In a way, yeah. Integrating social elements, maybe like anonymous comparisons. Hey, you've saved more than 75% of people in your age group this month.
Oh, interesting. Does that work?
It can, yeah. Or personalized coaching from chatbots, things that encourage interaction with the platform and build trust through that kind of social affirmation or support.
Okay, ninth.
Ninth, providing intuitive navigation and architecture. This sounds basic, but it's crucial.
Making it easy to use.
Right. Streamlining interfaces, logical menus, guiding tips like tooltips, anything that reduces cognitive load and frustration. A design that just works actually resonates with the brain's reward system. It enhances usability and builds confidence.
Less stress is always good. Okay, last one.
And 10th, embracing collaborative growth and feedback. This is slightly different from the ongoing improvement point.
How so?
This is about actively inviting users in, maybe letting them vote on upcoming features or provide instant feedback on their experience right after using something.
So they feel like co-creators.
Exactly. It makes users feel important, feel heard, and that really strengthens loyalty. They feel involved in shaping the platform they use.
That's a really comprehensive approach. But I can imagine some listeners thinking, okay, isn't this just making finance into a game? Could it be manipulative?
That's a really crucial question.
How do you ensure dopamine banking fosters genuinely healthy habits and isn't just about fleeting pleasure or worse, triggering impulsive spending?
Yeah, and that's where the ethical responsibility comes in big time. Dopamine banking must be dopamine friendly, not just dopamine releasing.
What's the difference?
It means it's absolutely essential to sustain engagement specifically with healthy money habits, not triggering impulse buying, especially for people with conditions like ADHD who might be more susceptible.
So you need guardrails.
Absolutely. We're talking about crucial guardrails, things like customized budgeting tools that fit the user, visual, color-coded spreadsheets perhaps. Saving pots, where you can add personal images to make the goals feel real, tangible.
Okay.
And timely spending notifications that help you stay aware. These methods nurture a reward-based approach to managing money that still feels exciting, but stays focused on stability.
Right.
Ultimately, the goal is reducing financial anxiety, preventing people falling into high-interest debt traps. It has to be about empowering choice, never coercing it.
So it's channeling that delight, that dopamine hit, towards long-term financial well-being, not just instant gratification. And we've seen how firms like UXDA have applied these principles all over the world. You mentioned examples.
Yeah, like LiveX in the UAE, the CRDB retail app in Tanzania that one uses really dynamic movement, neon lights, or Live Light, which is a kids banking app also in the UAE that uses an in-app buddy character to build trust.
Wow, even for kids.
Definitely. Then there's things like the Magma hedge fund platform for high net worth investors, the My T-Money super app in Mauritius, which has a gamified circle of fortune.
Okay.
Bineo, which is Mexico's first 100% digital bank, they use playful microanimations.
Yeah.
Even the Bank of Jordan's app uses bold colors and integrates local cultural touches.
So this trend really has global reach. It shows how universally appealing this human-centered, emotionally intelligent approach is.
It really does, and all these examples just illustrate that dopamine banking isn't just a gimmick, it's a fundamental shift.
Yeah.
It's about consciously, deliberately creating positive emotional moments at every single financial touchpoint, building this whole ecosystem of trust, delight, and ongoing engagement.
So, ultimately, this transforms finance, doesn't it? From just routine transactions into something more like an empowering, emotionally resonant journey.
That's the idea.
The goal seems to be customers who don't just manage their finances effectively, which is important, but who also feel more moments of happiness, in their financial lives.
Yeah, less stress, more confidence.
And then they become genuine advocates for their financial brand because they actually like using it.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting for you, our listener, to think about. What small moments of delight could potentially transform a seemingly mundane or challenging chore in your own life? Could be anything, into a rewarding and maybe confidence-building experience, thinking beyond just finance.